Hello everyone and welcome back to Art a la Carte. In this video I'm going to show you how I go about shading a horse. In a previous video I showed you how I drew this horse base. So if you are interested in first drawing up your own horse base, click on this video, check that out, and then join us as we shade this horse. So let's get started. So in here I haven't pushed really hard on any of my lines. I've just kind of cleaned up my guidelines, but have made no attempts at any shading. So what I'm going to go ahead and use is I'm just using just my regular pencil, which is like a B pencil. I'm going to be pushing really lightly, and I'm going to use more of the side of the pencil rather than the point. So I'm going to be holding it a little bit differently than I normally would. Normally when I'm drawing, I'm holding it kind of in a more of a vertical position. This time I'm going to be holding it in a little bit more of a horizontal position. And the reason is I'm going to use the flat side of my pencil, and that's going to help me to get more of an even spread without getting that kind of line texture. I don't want line texture. I want a really kind of a flow of lead. The first thing when I get going in trying to shade a horse or whatever is I'm looking for my dark and my lights. There will be places that'll be a nice gradient where there will be the dark will transition very smoothly into light, and so I'm looking for those places as well. But I first want to identify my darkest darks. So right under here on this back leg is going to be shadowed by the horse. I'm going to apply in a little bit of coloring right in there. This is all about taking your time, about layering up your colors. And even though this is going to be my darkest dark, I'm not going to start with my darkest pressured lead. I'm also going to do the same thing over here on this leg. A fun thing as an artist to know about shading and adding in darker colors is generally putting some dark on something is going to push something back, where having light on something is going to pull it forward. So you can really use that to your advantage as well. Because I'm putting some dark on this back leg, it's going to automatically separate these two legs, and this body is going to push this back further. It's going to define these out a little bit more. So also I'm going to do a little bit of this underneath the mane to separate the mane from the neck a little bit. And those are my dark darks. So now I'm going to go with my medium kind of shades, which I'm going to put some nice shading right around here. I want to really emphasize kind of this barrel of the horse. So I kind of very, very lightly sketch out how I want to see the shading. And again, this takes a lot of knowledge about what muscles are going in here to know that this from this point to this point is not smooth, that it actually, this comes out and goes dips in here and then comes out and dips down in here and comes out. So you'll see that I pull the shadow up to kind of push this back, and I bring this shadow down to bring this forward. And same thing with this muscle here. So I'm going to very lightly shadow this all in here. And I want to push in the withers a little bit right here, so I'm just going to shadow that in just a bit. So you can already see that this is really beginning to take some nice shape. I'm also going to apply a little bit of shadow around the rump side, and this is going to help this not to look flat. It's going to help to see this kind of coming up and then pushing back down in. A little bit around this front leg and underneath this first kneecap to kind of push those in. Same thing with this back kneecap. Now that we have our shadows kind of defined out where we want them, I'm going to begin to put in my nice darks and pull in my lights and add in my gradient. So this is really not something that I can say it has to be exactly this line, because your picture, the light source could come from just a slightly different angle. This takes a lot of just instinct, and you get your instinct and skills just by practicing it out, looking at photographs and playing with those, seeing what works, what doesn't work. I have a video on how to shade a basic shape like a circle. So I suggest if you are having trouble with shading to really master those exercises first. I encourage you to check out that video, and I'll put a link of that in the description box below. So you can see I've really pushed some darker colors underneath the legs, and now I'm going to begin to just pull out this color a little bit. I'm getting my very, very lightest tones, and so I'm very gently applying pressure with my pencil. In fact, almost just the pressure that you would get from the weight of the pencil itself. I'm holding it just tight enough to control it so it doesn't fall out of my hands. I'm just moving it very carefully along the side of the horse because I want that light gradient. Shading is all about controlling your lights and your darks. Your lights are just as important as your darks, and you don't want to cover up all of your lights, but you don't want, just like you wouldn't want all this horse to be in shadow, you don't want all of the horse to be in highlight. And so you want this nice medium color going through here to help kind of create that medium tone and set off your really nice bright highlights. So just go nice and slow and work that around. So nice trick if you happen to put a little too much shadow or shade into something and you need to pull it out. Using a gummy eraser really helps to pull that out. A gummy eraser is different from just a regular eraser. It lifts the lead up where like a plastic eraser just really rubs and collects it into kind of those little poopy rolls. You know, so it goes like that, and you get that, and the lead's inside of that. Where this kind of works like a silly putty almost, and it just sticks, the lead sticks to it. That's why it gets all black and everything. So if you want to add a little bit of extra shade, just take this down and just tap it out a little bit, and it'll pull up just ever so slightly. As long as you don't rub it, you just tap it, it'll just pick up a little bit of that lead. Now again, I have some videos on how to draw, horse heads and all that in a lot greater detail, and I go into a little bit more of the anatomy of it and what goes into it. But again, just thinking about what parts you want to push back. So I want the cheeks to kind of come out and the muzzle to kind of come out. So I'm going to put a little bit of shadowing in here. There's a little bit of a sunken area underneath or above the eye socket, and I want to bring in just a little bit of some of the features. And again, this is going to take knowledge of bone structure, skull structure, what's going on there. So definitely look at some photographs of horse skulls. And I'm going to get my medium gradient in there. So very quickly I'm going to work on the mane, and I actually have 3 videos on drawing horse manes where I go into a lot of the detail on how to apply that shading and that shadowing and get that nice texture. So I'm not going to go into it in this one, just to kind of help keep this video length down a little bit. So please, 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 if you need extra help on manes and stuff like that, check those videos out. So just a few more little touches, and this horse is just about done. He's floating in outer space, so let me quickly add a little bit of grass or land or something for him to be standing on. There we go, our horse is completed. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this video, and I really hope that this helped you as you are drawing and shading your own creatures and horses, and I would love to see them. So as always, you can post those on my Facebook wall or on Instagram or even on Twitter, so that we all get a chance to see them. That'd be fun. Also, if you enjoyed this drawing and are interested in either owning this piece or one similar to it from one of my other videos, please check out my Etsy shop where I post many of these pictures up for sale. So you can definitely do that. Kind of helps me pay the bills. If you enjoyed this video, I would encourage you to share this video with your friends and family across the social media. It really helps me out a ton to kind of get a little bit more coverage on this video, so I appreciate that. Any shares or likes or comments or faves or things like that just really help. Thank you guys so much again for joining me, and until next time, God bless you guys, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.